There's so much waste that happens in marketing. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Marketing is super important, but marketing is super wasteful. And maybe what it allows us to do with AI is to be able to get better at marketing. Get better, get the average. You don't have to be Coca-Cola or this like super marketing genius firm to be able to like crack it. It allows for more people to get better at it and get more narrow in audiences and try more channels. Super excited. I got my hot sauce. I'm a little nervous.
In this episode, I'm talking to Nic Beique, founder and CEO of Helcim, a payments company that's offering SMBs with affordable and transparent payment solutions. According to online sources, they're doing over $50 million in revenue per year, and they recently raised a $20 million USD Series B round led by Headline Ventures. We're gonna cover many things. Number one, Nic's early days of his startup journey, the marketing decisions he made, and also his thoughts on marketing and AI, in particular, his thoughts on AI agents. Number two, Nic's marketing thoughts, especially when it comes to testing. How long does he wait for experiments within an existing channel versus how long he waits for experiments within a brand new marketing channel? And of course, all the little spicy details like how much money they spend in marketing per month, his ad spend and ad budget, and many more. And of course, every time he can answer a question, as usual, we both have to take a shot of hot sauce from our sponsors, Seed Ranch Flavor Co. Wish me luck, Martians. I hope you enjoy this one. Hello, Martians. Welcome back to another episode of Marketing on Mars. Today, I'm super excited to welcome a fellow Canadian. We actually connected recently. We'll share the story of how we connected. But we have the founder and CEO of a company called Helcim, and they're a growing payments company. And we have Nic on the show. Nic, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited. I got my hot sauce. I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited for the chat.
Yeah, we actually connected just before the holidays, so we were able to send you some of the hot sauce. What do you have for us? What do you have?
I've got truffle hound. I do like truffles, so that's good.
I got
like
that as well.
One
of my favorites.
Two out of 3 peppers. I've got a umami reserve.
Oh yeah,
that looks like the really hot one. You can tell, like it kind of gets a little bit like yellow brownish kind of thing. That's the one that probably scares me the most. And then there's a Nash Soul. Well, actually, it looks pretty good.
That one's delicious. I haven't tried. Well, I tried it, but I don't have that with me right now, which is funny because I'm in Seoul right now, but I don't have it. But
it says
I do
Nashville meets Korean barbecue. I mean, I'm actually excited for this one. So.
Yeah, that one's gonna be good. And you haven't opened it at all, so you have no idea what it tastes like.
No.
Okay.
I wanted to keep it for the real time reaction, right? But I'm like I might have made a huge mistake. We'll find out live. So
find out live. Okay. So why don't we start off the show real quick with a quick shot, and then I'll go ahead and introduce you, and we'll do our whole introduction thing.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's start light. Let's go with the truffle.
The truffle deal. There's a shake to it. Guess is it right out of the bottle? Is it spoons? Is it like what's how do we do it in Rome?
I'm gonna go spoon. Spoon. Some guests go right out of the bottle. And so for the listeners, basically, if you're new to the show, you might be thinking we're crazy. Why are these guys doing shots of hot sauce? We start out the show with a shot of hot sauce, and throughout the show, anyways, we'll do this first. So we'll do this.
Okay,
that's not too bad. It's delicious.
No, it's delicious. Yeah, it tastes pretty good. A little truffle.
I'm
doing okay. I'm not crying. So.
Yet.
Yet.
So basically, theme of the show, Nic, and you know this, and in case the audience members don't know, throughout the show, my team has prepared a list of questions for us. I have no idea what questions are coming up, but I'm supposed to ask these questions to you, Nic. And we want to figure out secrets to success, secrets to marketing, most importantly, because this is a marketing show. We want to learn all the behind the scenes of how you guys grew. You guys are a very fast growing company. And every single time you can't answer a question, we move on by taking another shot of hot sauce. So that's the theme. Now, in terms of the content, I have no idea. So we're gonna find out together. Yeah. So
I'm
Nick,
game.
I have like a quick. I know quickly that you guys are a payments company. You guys provide small businesses with affordable and transparent payment solutions. You guys also have like a credit. You allow them to accept credit cards. There's a bunch of different things going on behind the scenes. Why don't you give us like a quick introduction of what Helcim does?
Okay, I'll give you the quick condensed kind of overview. Helcim, our mission is to be the world's most loved payments company. We love small business. And I know most love is almost like an oxymoron. It's kind of why we chose it. Even if you look at our brand colors, we've got like purples and pinks and kind of like peach Bellini gradient. And we love to say like we chose the colors that the banks would never choose. Just it really kind of makes us stand out compared to what nobody loves their payments company, right? The best way to think about us, people go, okay, another payments company. You got Square and you got Stripe. How do they fit into the picture, right? Here's an interesting stat. Square, really, really big company, $50 billion market cap. Everybody knows Square. They have 2% of the market. And that surprises people. They go, okay, they don't realize like how just massive the payment space is and how many kind of different wedges and cohorts they're hard to kind of go and service. And the best way to think about us is we like traditional, boring, we almost say like unsexy businesses.
Unsexy
Give us
businesses.
Exactly. Give us an unsexy business in an unsexy part of town. Give us, vets and accountants and dentists and like tile and stone wholesalers and just, those kind of like, they're, if you think about the world of fintech and payments, there's a lot of people servicing, like, cool coffee shops and direct to consumer brands and tech companies. But it's like, who's servicing the everyday main street unsexy business? And that's what we love all day. That's what we do. So that's kind of like the crash course into Helcim. But yeah, at our core, we allow businesses to accept payments, whether that's credit card, debit cards, ACH. We've got the machines, we've got online systems. So that's us at our core.
Yeah. Which is it's crazy. If anyone's looking at Nic's profile on LinkedIn, I sure am looking at it right now. Looks like you started it 4 years ago, but really the origin of payments started way before. And I believe you were super young when you started the company. Walk us through like what was the story? What was the story of the origin of Helcim and how it came about?
I like how you say you were super young, so I'll automatically assume that I no longer look super young, but there are some grays in this beard. So, yeah, I started my first payments business when I was 24 years old. We were, the first kind of iteration of my payments business was really like we were a reseller. So in the payments world, there's a lot of these resellers. Think about, you're knocking on doors, you're selling these old school machines, but you're kind of getting your foot in a door and learning how to work in the payment space, how to help small businesses. And that's how I built my first payments company.
How old were you when you first started that?
24, 25.
24.
Even finding a partner even if you want to be reseller, like finding a bank at that age that'll let you resell your business, or resell their business was really challenging.
Fresh out of university, right?
Exactly. And this is like kind of like, mid 2000s. So it's kind of, you don't have the world of the world outside of California, the world of startups and fintechs, like these words, didn't quite exist yet, right? So you're just trying to build a business. But I fell in love with small businesses, fell in love with payments, and I'm a self-taught coder. So I fell in love with the able to bring more of a technology layer. And that's how we really kind of got started. We got our foot in the door. We started growing, and we saw an opportunity. I had built that business, it was a bootstrap business. And I saw an opportunity for us to kind of step out of the shadow of being a reseller and become a bank. And this is back in 2017. And what I did is I took every
Yeah.
dollar I could out of the current business. I hired a bunch of software developers to code with me, and we thought it was going to take like, oh, we'll do a stealth project for a year and a half. We'll build our own processor. How hard could it be? So it's like famous
Right.
last words. The stealth project turned into 3 years of just nonstop coding, because it turns out that trying to recreate a payments company like Square or JP Morgan is really hard. It takes a lot of resources, but we ultimately launched in 2020, and that's the Helcim you see today.
You guys actually launched like 2 months into COVID, like 2 or 3 months into COVID. What
Perfect
was that?
timing.
Yeah, it was perfect timing. What was that like?
Well, it was an interesting dynamic because on one side, you would see there's some businesses that were riding this crazy wave. Like anybody that was in the e-commerce space was really just seeing that acceleration kind of fall in their lap, right? We were not doing that. We were aiming for traditional businesses. So we didn't see the crunch of like the restaurants that really got hurt with
Yeah,
with those changes.
yeah.
What was interesting about, like, if you think about like vets and dentists and accountants, like they got disrupted, but not that much. They just had to learn to shift some of the payments to more, move away from checks, and so
Mm-hmm.
it did help in some of that digitization and adoption.
Mm,
But overall, it was, we've always picked this kind of cohort of small business that are pretty like steady state. Even if you think about like recessions and ups and downs, like you always need your vet, you always need your dentist, you always need your accountant. They're pretty, recession, maybe not recession proof, recession resistant. So day one, we kind of started with a more stable group of merchants, and we just learned how to help them every day.
yeah, yeah. So, a couple more personal questions, and then we'll dive into Helsim. Promise. I think our audience is waiting for that. But you started your first business at 15. You're pitching websites, local businesses, etc. Um, like, so you've been in the startup scene for a while. What was it like hustling at such a young age, and how did that shape your perspective on entrepreneurship all the way up until now?
I mean, I really got into, so self-taught coder, self-taught designer. So I was on kind of like that back in the day where you could walk into a business, be like, hey, can I build you a website? Do you want it to be an e-commerce
Yeah.
website? And you would do custom coding and design and bring it all together. So that was kind of like late 90s, early 2000s. Uh, I think that's where my kind of love for small business came from, because you would walk into,
Mm,
a barber shop or local computer store or
yeah.
gym and say, and say, hey, this young punk at like 15, 16 years old, and you're like, can I talk to the owner and can I build you a site? And you'd be surprised about how many people said yes. They're like, oh yeah, here's a check for $500, or here's a check for $1,000. Like,
Mm,
can you build me something? And I think that created this like affinity for small business owners and like the risk takers that they are, when like a 16-year-old kid walks in and you just write him a check and said, sure, build something. And I think that's where the love came from. I think it's just like they are absolutely, they might not be like the typical kind of startup founder that we kind of think today, but they're absolutely entrepreneurs and they're absolutely risk takers. So kind of fell in love with it. And I think nowadays when you think about, I think that applies to a lot of founders. It's like, I don't know if I could get a normal job anymore. I don't think my resume
mm,
even lends itself to that. It's really just like when you're foundered that early, whether you like it or not, and obviously I choose it because I like it, but
yeah.
you're kind of on this track, and this is the skills that you learn for this.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and obviously you you're living in a very beautiful part of Canada, in Calgary. And actually, when we first connected, you were at the gathering. I was supposed to be there, but I couldn't make it. Um, and for those that don't know, search up Calgary. It's beautiful, a lot of outdoor stuff. Do you have a lot of hobbies and stuff, and you try to keep up to date with all your hobbies and continue to do everything while running this business? I know your business is growing really fast. Do you still balance out your work life balance pretty
Yeah,
well?
the world of work-life balance kind of left a long time ago. I have also got a 7-month-old at
You
home,
got a
my
baby as well.
first.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's just like whatever free time didn't exist is now exists even less. But I mean, I'm a big believer in like, short-term fame for short-term pain for long-term gratification, and the world of trade-offs. And I'm like, I am absolutely in a trade-off portion of my life where I'm making all these investments into the business and myself and my family.
Yeah.
And maybe it will all pay off when I'm 50, or it won't, but that's the bet I'm making. So
Yeah. Okay. Let's dive into the company. But first, I think the team wants me to do the first hot sauce portion. Uh, so this segment is called This or That. Nick, I'm gonna give
okay.
you two options, and you just gotta choose this option or that option. We'll start with an easy one, and then we'll level up. First question: Lego sets, which I know you're a fan of. Lego sets forever, or no more coffee ever again.
Oh, that's so easy. Lego sets. I don't drink caffeine, so like that is like that's not even like a I Lego all day long. It's funny. My family and my in-laws and everybody knows I like Lego, and I just turned 40, and I still love Lego. And I had a ridiculous, and my birthday just happened too. So it's Christmas, my birthday is almost at the same time, and so I literally walked away with a ton of sets. And
Yeah,
there's a part of you I'm like, I'm way too old for this, and the other part of me is like, man, the kid, the 10-year-old Nick would have been
that
so proud
joy.
of me right now of
Yeah,
just all these sets. So I'm just
yeah.
like, that one's easy. I don't have to do any hot sauce on
Okay,
that one.
we got four more, so
Okay,
we'll rapid fire through this one. Live without Spotify or live without Netflix.
live without Netflix.
Only eat food that's too spicy or food that's always too cold.
I like cold food. I
Oh,
like cold soup. I like cold food. I like people like look at me that I should microwave stuff, and I'm like, I'm fine. I'll just eat it cold. So, easy one.
eat a whole entire lemon or a whole entire onion, one bite.
Lemon, because it's still delicious even if it's sour.
Who's your least favorite? What's your least favorite department at Helcim? Marketing or finance?
I mean, I love all my children, so that's definitely I can't. That is not an answerable question. So it's a hot sauce one. So which one do I just pick the?
I
I've got
think
one of
I think you want to do the Nash, right? Let's
the
go with the
Nash. Yeah,
Nash.
yeah.
I don't
Okay,
have the Nash, so um, I'll just stick with the truffle for this one. But the team was egging us on for a full spoon, so I'll make sure to fill up this spoon.
okay. You got.
All right, are you guys happy with this? I can't even lift it; it's gonna be spilling over. All right, cheers.
Hey, that's good. The Nash is good. I don't know if this is like product placement or not, but go buy the Nash.
It is good, eh?
Right.
It's very good. Ooh, yeah. Big shots are fun. They're fun. They are really fun. All right, let's kind of dive into the company a little bit. It is a marketing show, so let's dive into the marketing aspects of everything. Maybe first, walk us through your different business lines or business like streams of revenue, and then we'll kind of dive into each one one at a time.
Yeah, so the company's still early, launched in 2020. So like our core revenue, our core line of business is absolutely our payment processing. So merchant servicing, payment acceptance, whatever you want to call it. But essentially, business accepts credit cards, accepts bank payments. We take a margin off the transaction. That's kind of 80+% of our revenue. What we've started adding is some premium services, called maybe premium services to that. Really getting into the geeking out of payments, but you have, commercial card optimizations and surcharging and kind of like these kind of like value add payments functionality that adds margin to our business. But at our core is that what we're getting into, what we just launched is more premium software on top of it. I mean, people can think about the Square business model. We target a bit of a different market, but it's a similar model where it's like start with payments and then add more software to that model. So we just launched our subscription management suite, similar to kind of like a Stripe billing in terms of like, but more geared towards small business, about like automating your payments. We've just launched that. It has a pricing element to it. Take a little fraction of a transaction cost to that, and that starts adding to our margin as well. And we want to keep adding more value add software to it.
Now, quick question on this. As crypto is all the buzz this year, everyone's talking about it. Reached 100K for the first time, and I don't know. Are you personally invested in crypto at all?
No.
Okay. Um, Crypto payments and everything. Is that a thing? Do you think like do you follow that space quite a bit?
I follow it. I mean, it's just it's hard not to. It's fascinating and it's everywhere. I think that you see a lot of applications, especially in payments. There's a lot of debates of like, is crypto payments or is crypto a digital asset? Is it more of like,
Right.
a currency, a way of exchange? I think there's been a lot of false starts on the payment side of things. You still can't go on most retailers and use crypto to make a purchase, kind of thing, right? Where I think you see it more in payments is probably in certain countries where they don't have the same financial infrastructure. That
Mm.
if you think about like North America, which is where we operate, Canada and the
Hmm.
US, and you think
Hmm.
about Europe and some of those markets, it's so well established. There's so much infrastructure already in play. But so no, I guess that's a long answer for like we are not in crypto.
Okay, cool. Okay, so payment processing, premium services, and all that. That's just to say that um, you're targeting different levels of business, right? I'm sure the premium services is more for the larger companies, right? And then that payment processing is probably for all from small businesses all the way to the large. So I'm assuming you have different types of ICPs that you target as well. Is that correct?
So what's interesting about us is that there's the ICPs are more about industry segments. That's really how we have. So like we look at there's definitely like a range of size of business, but for us it's kind of like small to we don't go enterprise, so small to large. Like somebody doing 50 $100 million a year in revenue starts kind of capping out for us, and we don't have some of the things that they need. But for us, the way we look at ICPs is more like healthcare. When I talk about dentists or vets versus professional services versus wholesalers, like they have different needs. And that's typically how we really bucket them, both in the way we look at marketing, that we look at revenues from them. That's really how we do our kind of big circle categorization.
I see. What about restaurants? Do you guys touch that space at all, or you leave that for different payment
So
vendors?
about 6% of our 6% of our kind of portfolio revenue is from restaurants. It's a small portion of it. If you compare us to like Clover or Square, it's going to be totally reversed. It's going to be the majority for them. We try, some people just naturally come to us, but we're really not specialized for restaurant. Like there's so much, even from a marketing, put your marketing hat on. There's so
Hmm.
much blood in that water for restaurants. Like you got
Oh
like
yeah,
Toast and Shift Four and Square, and they're like in
yeah.
a knife fight in the water with sharks, and it's just I'd like they can have their fun there. No, thank you. We'll stick to our boring but awesome dentists.
Yeah. And it sounds like healthcare is your number one, though. If you had
Yeah,
to rank your
yeah,
your ICPs, yeah,
yeah. It's 25% of our business is like different healthcare providers.
yeah. Okay, so let's dive into each one of these different segments. Then I'm sure the way that you market. Do you guys have different marketing strategies and channels for each one of these buckets, or it's regardless whether it's professional services or healthcare, they're all in the same channels?
It's interesting. So it when you think about our direct marketing, so if you think about content SEO performance, which is a big part of how we get our business, right? Um, what we found over time is we've tried it multiple times to say let's do really specialized campaigns and landing pages and really specialized approaches to these different segments, and it never worked. It was never as performant as just straight to the core messaging of you're looking for great payments at a great price with great customer service. And I think what
Mm.
happens is that people assume, oh, a dentist. I'm gonna stick to this example. A dentist is looking for like best payments for dentists. It's like, nah. It's actually the search volume does actually show that they're just looking for best payments for a small business, and they're
Mm.
looking for like there's a big lot of uniformity across like their needs. So when it comes to like performance and SEO, it's always been more on the generic. That's always what performs better. That's always surprised us, and it's always a little counterintuitive, but that's what
But
the data is the data.
that makes sense. They're just looking for. They're probably looking for a few things. They're probably looking for certain fees, or whether they match up with the Clovers of the world or Squares of the world, and that's probably the most important for them,
Exactly.
right? And
They're
then,
looking to solve a
yeah,
problem as opposed to like self-identifying
yeah.
as an industry.
And payments is payments. You're getting money into your bank account, and you're good, right? What about, so that's for direct marketing, content, SEO.
Yep.
Makes a ton of sense. What about paid? Do you guys do a lot of paid stuff?
Yeah, and paid has actually been very similar. Where it changes is on our channel partnerships. That's where the segments start making more sense. So if you think about, um, the Professional Dental Association of Pennsylvania, or
Yeah.
there's all these, there's thousands of these different professional associations that exist in this world of unsexy businesses, and that's where kind of like that verticalization, or kind of like industry segment specific targeting and messaging and channels start coming alive more.
I see. Um, how many channel partners do you guys have right now?
We've got a few hundred.
Few hundred. Okay. And is the are you guys capped out now, or you guys are looking to add 20 more per month or whatever? Like, talk to us about your strategy for channel partnerships
Yes.
this year.
So channel partners, something that we talked a lot about, but we didn't really execute on until last year, 2024. And that's when we brought in the channel partnership team. So it was one of the things that just kind of happened, but it was like on the side of a desk of a few people until we brought in a great leader. And she really kind of transformed those teams, and both in terms of like nurturing what we've got and also hunting for new partners. So that's been a new muscle that we've built. But yeah, it turns out that just calling people and asking if they want a partnership will get you a yes more often than you think.
Yeah, surprisingly, especially since you guys are growing quite a bit, and we'll get into actually, let's get into the financials right now. We're I think the audience wants some more hot sauce shots, but how are you guys doing? Share a few of some of the financials that you can share, and then we might dive a little deeper into spicier areas. But yeah, how big is Helcim now?
So I can share some stuff. So you tell me what qualifies and what doesn't qualify. So we've got over 20,000 customers. So that's across Canada and the US. Revenue wise, I'm going to take the easy way. I'll say between 50 and 100 million ARR is kind of where we're at, but I can't go close to that. Yeah, I'm getting flashed a hot sauce. Take the hot sauce. So
Okay. Before we did a hot sauce, you guys also raised some money. How
Yep.
much have you guys raised so far to date?
So we have raised. I'm gonna do a CAD number because that's the Canadian in me.
Yeah.
We have raised $43 million CAD. Oh man, conversion into 30 million USD.
30 million USD.
Yeah.
And that was a total of 2 different rounds or 3 different rounds?
So 2 different rounds. So we the first time we ever raised money was a Series A.
Oh, you guys skipped everything in between, right?
We
Because it was
skipped everything.
self-funded in the beginning.
Well, it was self-funded at the beginning, and when we pivoted to this business, we just hit the ground running. So essentially, the old business became kind of like the seed investor. And then once we started going, so we did a Series A in the spring of 2022 and a Series B just last spring in 2024. Probably do a Series C, 2026. That's kind of like where there's a trend. So yeah, that's where we're. Oh man, the hot sauce I felt it come back. So it
it's back. Okay,
you
so
think you're out of the woods, and then something that just creeps back in.
Apparently, we got to do this. And you were excited about the umami reserve. I am as well. I love this one.
Yeah,
it is a little
I don't
spicy
think
though.
exciting was the right word, or if I was more nervous about it. It's got like 3 hot peppers on it. That's the one with like the warning label.
Let's call it excited. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pour. Feel free to pour you can pour like half. I'll do like 75% of a spoon.
Okay.
Right.
This is the one that really like kind of kicks your butt.
Yeah. My mouth is watering right now. But all right. Okay. Cheers.
Okay.
It's not bad, but it's spicy. It definitely
it's spicy.
Yeah.
It's definitely like a step above the next one. So
yeah.
And it's not going away.
It stays.
Yeah. You know, it's gonna fade pretty quick. This one's like, I'm here to stay.
Yep. Yeah, I'm here to stay. It's still here, guys. This is no joke. But it's delicious. It doesn't kill you. But it does. It's definitely spicy.
I think I'm gonna go for some milk.
Yeah. Direct marketing, ads, so direct marketing, content, SEO, ads, channel partners, and all that. How large is your marketing team now? You guys are doing, you guys are doing 50 to 100 mil. You guys are doing really well. How large of a marketing team you guys have supporting that?
So you have a partner. So it's a new partnerships team of 5. That includes the leader. You've got a marketing team of about 10 or 12. So it's not a huge team.
Mm,
You've got, in there you're gonna have we have PR, social media. We've got a couple of like kind of ads and performance specialists. We also work with an outside agency, so it's a mixture of both. You have brand marketing, brand marketing, product marketing, and a sprinkle of marketing ops. Website, email, and so on. So it's a pretty lean, mean team,
yeah,
but they do amazing stuff.
yeah. Um, a lot of outreach still because you guys are targeting kind of small to medium sized businesses. You guys still, oh, my mouth is salivating quite a bit, but um, you guys do still do a lot of outreach still at this point, outbound campaigns, etc.
So, we're going to do like performance campaigns. We actually don't have any outbound sales. That's something that we want to do some experiments this year and see how we do. It's actually in the payments world. If you think like old school payments, those guys, selling those terminals out of their trunks, like feats on the streets and telemarketing is a big part of your go to market, but it's something that our strength has always been more like kind of product led and marketing led efforts. But we know we can build some new channels for them, and that's some of the experiments we're going to do this year. But as of right now, we've got no outbound sales.
I see. Now, LinkedIn, everyone knows LinkedIn is quite powerful as a B2B channel.
Yeah.
Your target audience, professional services, healthcare, doesn't sound like they use a lot of LinkedIn, but talk to us about how LinkedIn works for you when it comes to B2B.
Yeah, I don't think we're doing it justice. I know that a big part of our market is also think about accountants and professional services, and
Oh,
they
they're
do
there.
they do
Yeah.
use LinkedIn. Yeah. So again, on the to do for this year, we wanted to do a bigger effort there. We just started some ad testing like a month ago on LinkedIn. We hadn't done ads ever, so we're just like but it's fun. We get to like, okay, let's see what this channel can do for us.
How's it? What are some of the early results that you're seeing?
Um, I think it's us learning where to target. I try not to judge ad campaigns too early because usually it's just like, okay, go spend 10 grand here, go spend 30 grand here. And like,
Yeah.
I won't get mad. It's just like,
Yeah.
you're going to have to keep trying. Right. So, they started earlier last year on Reddit, which was new for us as well, and they had a lot of
Oh,
good results. So they're trying to figure out,
Reddit.
okay, how do we scale this? A lot of meme ads. I think you get to get like the marketers in them really love the fact that the Reddit ads that seem to work the most are the meme ads. Literally, just take a well known meme, make a commentary about some of the pain points, and they seem to perform really well. So LinkedIn we haven't cracked yet, but I think there's some hope for Reddit.
Yeah, yeah, Reddit. Reddit seems to be coming back. Um, are you guys testing out with Reddit ads or more organic and just being part of the community?
We got both. So we have somebody that takes care of our PR and social engagement. So making sure that if you think about like product searches, right? If you're searching for
Yeah.
obviously for payments for us, but any kind of like management software or a CRM, whatever, like most people are starting to learn to put Reddit at the end of the Google search. And
Hmm.
just to see, and then you open like 4 or 5 tabs and you see like, okay, what are people saying about this? I mean, even on the consumer space about this like baby car seat, obviously you see what kind of mode I'm in right now, but like, and
Baby car.
you know, what we told our team is like, we want to be part of those conversations. We want to make sure that like if the community is not organically always bringing us an answers, well, let's introduce ourselves and say, hey, have you thought about us? Right. So we're starting to make that effort on Reddit. And then the ads is the paid side. That's where the memes I think are coming from, where you're targeting certain groups. And again, you can do it on segments. Reddit's really good for segments, right? There's a subreddit for auto mechanics and dentists and accountants and like everything, let alone the one for small business, let alone the one for small business in Canada, let alone the one for Florida businesses. Like
Yeah.
there's all these categorizations. And I think it can almost feel overwhelming, especially if you got your startup and you're, including us, and we're your lean team. You're like, how do I tackle this beast? And it's just like, okay, do lots of little experiments and see what clicks, and then double down and
Yeah.
hopefully keep scaling.
So how much are you guys? This might get a little spicy. I realize. We just took a hot sauce shot, but I'm going to go for it anyways. The team would like to know how much are you guys spending per month on your ads, or maybe we'll start with the ads first.
How about this? Anything that's not Meta and Google is sub 100K a month right now.
Less than 100K. Anything that's
For
not Meta. Oh, so Meta and Google is like way higher than that.
oh yeah. I
Is
said the
that?
hot sauce. I'm not gonna give
No.
the Google.
No, that's not nice. Oh man. Okay, so that's so you guys are spending a lot, seeing results, I assume.
Yes.
Good
Yes.
results.
The
Okay.
growth is.
All right, I'll
I'll
let you choose this one. Do you want to go back to the
I
umami?
already poured the super hot one. I thought I was really in
Let's
trouble
do
with
it.
that.
Yeah, that was
cop-out,
fun.
so-
Yeah, it was fun. Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it as well.
All right. Cheers, man.
Hold on. Give me 1 second. All right. Cheers. Cheers. It's full. Don't worry, guys.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
I'm doing okay. I think I'm like alive, and I was worried, but
It's good, right? It's like
I'll be able to drive home, I think, maybe.
yeah. You get pulled over.
Yeah, exactly.
You get pulled over, do a breathalyzer.
Under the influence of hot sauce.
Yeah. How many shots of hot sauce did you take, sir? Oh, I did like 3. All right. So you guys are spending quite a bit. You guys have a bunch of things that you're going to test out this year. Yeah, would be excited to see how LinkedIn works out for you. LinkedIn was one of our biggest channels of growth when it comes to our podcast. Our last post that we posted about our podcast got 100,000 impressions. And we'll probably post this on, TBD. But we'll probably post this on LinkedIn as well, because it seems like, Nic, you have a quite strong LinkedIn profile as well.
I think I do well with the people.
Do well with the people.
Any hot tips for LinkedIn on how to crack that platform?
There's a handful of things. I think number one, our team, we've been very consistent posting. Well, we post minimum once a month, sometimes twice a month. If there's a lot going on, then 3 times a month. Very, very consistent, and we're always on there.
I think that's a good.
The team, yeah, we're just always on there. We never leave a message unread, whether it's through with our fans or with some of our our clients, projects that we're supporting with their podcasts, etc. We're just always on there, and I think that's what LinkedIn wants you to do, right? They want you to be there, and that's part of their algorithm is to boost content that or people that are regularly posting and regularly engaging. It's kind of like part of their reward system. So
I totally wish the camera wasn't on because my nose is starting to go. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the hot sauce.
Feeling hot sauce. Now, are you a hot sauce lover? Like typically?
So I used to be. If I had done this with you 2 years ago, I would have just
no way.
I just been passed out by now. I was such a wimp for hot sauce, and I decided I no longer want this as a weakness. So I started. I bought the easy, like the banana peppers, the one you get like a Papa John's pizza box. Like they're pretty easy.
Love
right?
those. Yeah.
So started buying those and having 1 or 2 a day just to and then it was jalapenos and 1 or 2 a day, and then it works. It works if you it's kind of like just like having a pickle. Like it's just you start kind of getting.
It's like I'm lactose intolerant, but I realize when I eat regular ice cream, like summertime, I'm eating ice cream a lot. And like summertime, my lactose intolerance goes away. And in Korea, I'm here in Korea, they like to put milk on everything. or like cheese on everything. Even on ramen, they'll throw a slice of cheese on top of ramen. And so I'm eating a lot more dairy, and so I'm not as lactose intolerant. But anyways,
So it works. There you go. So yeah, I think I'm actually doing pretty good. And the spicy, I don't like completely run away. And I think it helps enjoy food more because if you're getting like like ramen or anything like that, and all of a sudden somebody puts spicy in it, if you can enjoy it without like freaking out that like you're just like drooling all over yourself, right? So yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself right now.
yeah,
The
cool.
immunity, yeah.
Okay. I think our team has these are all the questions for marketing, at least for your company. And now we're going to talk more about kind of the future,
Okay.
future outlook, and marketing about the future. If the team has other questions, feel free to throw them in as well. But just kind of talking about where marketing is going and how your business or other businesses can prepare. Where do you see marketing in the fintech space evolving with all of this AI stuff going on? AI agents now creating ad copy in like half a second, and people are starting to, I don't know, there are threads on Reddit and elsewhere saying that people are becoming more and more immune to ads. Deep fakes are happening all over the place. Like, what can people trust nowadays? Where do you see marketing heading with all of this stuff with AI and the industry evolving?
I think there's a couple of things. First of all, channel diversification, I think, is super important.
Mm.
You're seeing what happened with, I think Google's going through a, let's say, a
Transition.
up and down kind of roller coaster in the kind of old school world of SEO and everything. So I
Yep.
think channel diversification is more important than ever, period. And I do think that with AI and large language models really learning from so many sources, the more that you can be, the more that there's different channels talking about you, the better I think it floats up. Like what I was happy about and I think a little bit surprised about was when you search the large language modules for like who's the best payment processor for small business, we're usually in the top 3 or top 5 list, and we're such
Yeah.
we're a
Let's
Series B
go.
company, and everybody else is like a $50 billion kind of
Yeah.
massive monster. So that was super
Amazing.
exciting, but I think part of that was because it was through a lot of the content we have out there, affiliate marketing, review websites, a lot of things, a lot of different places talk about us, and I think that helped. So I think channel diversification is super important. I think that if you think about marketing in general, there's so much waste that happens in marketing. It's insane. It's
Yeah.
absolutely insane, right? And you try to work backwards to your cost acquisition and try to make the numbers work and all that. But like every business of all types, doesn't matter if you're a startup or a giant enterprise or a small business, like marketing is super important, but marketing is super wasteful.
Wasteful. Yeah.
And hopefully what that allows you to do with the people still need to sell things, people still want to buy things. I think there's always going to be new ways for you to kind of share your messaging, and maybe what it allows us to do with AI is to be able to get better at marketing, get better, get the average. You don't have to be Coca-Cola or this like super marketing genius firm to be able to like crack it. It allows for more people to get better at it and get more narrow in audiences and try more channels and do what you would expect a really advanced marketing shop to do, but bring it to the more SMB. And since there's so many marketing dollars to spend and there's so many channels that are more than happy to receive those dollars, I think it's just going to be a big change, but I don't think it's going away. Like it's not, ads are not going away.
Yeah. Not going away. So there's this fine balance. You talked about it already, literally in your answer. There's a fine balance between testing a bunch and then refining and then diving into one area once you know that area is working. How long do you usually? Because you've done a lot of testing. Going from startup to now 50 million or potentially 100 million. You won't tell us the actual number, but you have grown a lot and you've tested a lot. How long would you this testing period run for, and how long do you give your team time to test before you decide, hey, you know what, none of these other channels are worth it, let's dive into this area? Do you give it 3 months, 6 months?
No, not. I mean, maybe if you really want to try to crack a channel, you still got to give it time. But in terms of individual experiments, so like channel
Yeah.
versus experiments, right?
Yeah.
We're lucky that our customer acquisition time is about 6 business days. So from like first time somebody lands on our website to like they sign up for an account with us and kind of get going is that average 6 days. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
really fast turnaround. Like we're very self-service.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost, if you think about the spectrum of like consumer all the way to enterprise, and enterprise is really slow, like 2 years to do contracts and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
consumers is like you're sitting on your couch at 2 a.m. going like, yeah, I kind of want to buy this thing. You buy it, right? Um, we're certainly lean. Yes, it's small business, it's B2B, but we're certainly kind of look more like a B2C, especially in that
Mm.
self-serviceability and that speed. So we're lucky that way because we know that like within a week, or maybe being generous, 2 weeks, you should see the conversions come in. So that allows you to know pretty quickly if your experiment is giving you anything or not. Now, you want to give a channel a lot of time. So if we're going, okay, let's go after LinkedIn, like we're not going to give up on LinkedIn after a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the experiment, we're going to move pretty quickly through them because we'll know pretty quickly
So
if
just
they're going to work.
like a ballpark range, how long would you give these experiments within the channel?
Within 3 weeks they're really not giving us anything, like we know, let's not double down. And what we like to do is when something gives us, so like, hey, spend $1,000, see if it gives you a customer or two or three, right? And if it does, okay, spend 2,000. Okay, and then spend 4,000 until you kind of hit that ceiling and you're like, I've kind of capped out this experiment. But yeah, within 2 to 3 weeks, if they're not giving us anything, we know that's it's done.
And then for a channel, how long would you give a channel? Like this year, for example, LinkedIn is a good example. How long would you give LinkedIn, and what results in your mind would what would be like success and what would not be success?
I, so when we take a step back, we know that our service converts, and it converts at a pretty fast clip. So if you get the right audience or the right intent um, on that landing page, everybody needs payments. We're lucky in that way too. Like we don't have to kind of reinvent the wheel. It's just we just have to convince them
Yeah.
like, hey, we exist and we think that we're better than some of the other ones out there. So I think that with that baseline, it's easier to start with that baseline knowing we can convert. We've seen in so many channels, we've seen in our growth. So then it really comes down to, are we saying the right message, at the right audience, and can we get at the right cost?
Yeah.
And so for us to rule out something like
That's the
LinkedIn and
key.
say, like, is it, we have to go through it, like, because it's easier to go like, what, can I really stand in front of my company and my investors and say, we have tried everything, LinkedIn doesn't work. And it's kind of like, nah, I'm like, I'd get called out for that. There's no way. Like, it's like, so I think we give channels a really long time. You just have to be able to move quickly between experiments so that you can really figure out why one is working and why one isn't.
Yeah, there's a company, and you probably have heard of it. I'm not going to call them out on the podcast, um, uh, for good or bad reasons. They're kind of like a competitor to Amex Rewards Card, let's just say. And you guys are competing against a big beast as well. And I get messages from their founder, directly from their founder. So imagine a message from you giving a complimentary 30-day or whatever. And they've been running this ad campaign for years on me, like 2 years. I'm assuming their LTV is large enough for them to constantly pay whatever, $10, $15 every single time for my click. And it's like direct in mail. What are your thoughts when the founder messages directly through a campaign like that?
You know what? I think that if people have a really big, a very fine-tuned nose for looking out for bullshit and like insincerity and like what's real, what's not. Like we're so fine-tuned to it, like every generation, and like gets better and better, right? And
Yeah.
um, I think that when you get an email in your inbox, you can probably tell in the fraction of a second if that email is actually from the person, was actually written by the person, or if it's just they just
Oh,
threw their name, but it's like,
definitely.
and so, for example, like with us, we do a quarterly newsletter with our merchants. And it says, from Nic, and I write it, and it's super personalized, and it's part of like our transparency value that we make it like really candid, even when we fucked up. So if we say like, hey, like we had this big bug, and I'll like right on top of that newsletter, like really sorry, you guys are hardworking small businesses, we can do better, and but that level of honesty builds a certain, you earn your right to that audience. So I think that it can work really in your favor. So now, when I send out a quarterly newsletter, sometimes I'll just write, like paragraph 2, paragraph 3. I'm like, hey, we're actually trying to, we want to get introduced to your accountant. That's something we said recently. We have a program. One of our new channels is actually the accountants, because not only are they customers of ours, but they also service a lot of small businesses. So we're starting to build out that channel.
Yeah.
And we said, we would love to get introduced to your accountants. Just reply to this email. So instead of like click here to like fill out a form or whatever, it's like reply to this email,
Make it more human.
Copy to your accountant, and just say, hey, Nic, and I'm the CEO, and it's like, hey, Nic, here's my accountant, make an intro. And we got hundreds of interests. And I'm like, that's fine. I don't mind it hitting my inbox. I just put somebody on my team to be like, my inbox is going to go crazy for the next 2 days. Just handle it, please. And then we'll deal with it, right?
Short-term pain for long-term gain.
Exactly.
Right?
And if you're willing to, and we wouldn't do that forever, but we wanted to jumpstart the process for that channel. So if you're willing to bring that level of candor, I think that, using your title as a CEO and as a founder, and leveraging and earning that trust, I think is worth it. If it feels like it's like if your bullshit detector is detecting it quickly, then I think that you might as well not bother.
Exactly. By the way, I know we started a little bit late, where we have like a couple minutes left. Do you got?
I can go. I can keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
I have to turn the lights back on, but we're good so far. So.
Because our team wanted to go to this next round. It's called the rapid fire round, very similar to this or that, and the level of hotness goes up. And we'll do this, and then we'll end off with we'll end off in the next kind of 5 to 10 minutes. But all right, quick questions, quick answers. Got 5 of them. Would you rather be a ninja or a pirate?
Pirate.
Oh. What's the weirdest food you've eaten in the last 12 or 24 months?
I was visiting our manufacturers in Taiwan, and they were like super creative with their food. I'm trying to think what I hate there. I mean, there's definitely a couple hot pots with a lot of mystery meats on there. So I'll just put mystery meat.
Mystery meat. Also, there are mystery meat places in Korea too.
There you go.
You guys can imagine.
You're just like, yep. Yeah. It tastes delicious. Got it. Good enough.
Who would you play? Who would play you in the movie of your life? Which actor? Maybe someone you love. Morgan Freeman.
Orlando Bloom. He's a pretty cool guy. Legolas and Lord of the Rings. Like,
oh yeah, I can see the resemblance. I can see the resemblance.
I like that.
Who's your all-time favorite cartoon character?
Okay, this is super geeky. Do you remember Disney's Gargoyles back in the 90s?
Yes.
Yeah, and Goliath, there's like Goliath and David Xanatos, and there was like, that's like nostalgia for me up there.
Those are crazy times. Who was one of the most annoying clients or partners that you worked with in 2024?
Oh God. Can I do the hot sauce? Can I do the hot sauce? That was a trick. There was no way. Nobody ever does not do the hot sauce for that. I'm going to do the Nash.
I like how you thought about it for a second, though. Like, can I? No, I don't.
I think that's the Canadian nicety, where it's just like a kind of default to like open.
I don't want to not answer this question. He's been so nice to me. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh, I love this hot sauce. It's so good, eh?
Nash Soul is just like, that's what I went for. It is.
Oh,
it's
so
good. I'm getting through it. Like, it's.
Yeah, I'm sad I didn't bring it. I would have loved to share that with you, but next time, I might be coming to Calgary.
Please do.
Yeah, in 2025. So if we do, we'll share a couple of shots of hot sauce together for sure. But okay, last part of the segment. Um, when we get this far in the show, clearly the audience is very intrigued by you, your life, your background, and all that. So want to dive into that. Tell us about what baby Nic was like. Like growing up, how did you like what molded you into the person that would eventually start a startup at 15 and then start another startup at 24? Or like your parents are entrepreneurial or like lower class, middle class? Like tell us about your background as a kid.
Yeah, sure. So, born in Texas, but moved to Montreal when I was 1 years old. So I actually didn't learn English. I learned French, and French is my first language. And you can kind of hear a little bit of an accent sometimes, but like, but then I moved to, for those who are familiar, so Montreal is a very different part of Canada, like very, kind of
Very.
French and East Coast. And then Calgary is like the Denver of the US. So like the big mountains and the outdoors. And
Yeah.
so I moved to that when I was in my teens. So I like to say I'm a Texas French Canadian. There's not too many of us, like it's a
Might be
rare
like three of you guys.
Yeah, exactly. There's probably three, and they're probably cousins. And I think that the moving here in my teens, so I was 12 years old, moved here. All of a sudden, you're in a new place. You don't speak the language. So I had to learn English. And I think I kind of I became more inward focused, right? So like get into computers and programming, and it just I fell in love with it. And then I was always maybe a little bit like anti-authority, like I was not the best student, didn't show up to classes very much.
Typical for a lot of founders,
maybe a little bit typical, right? So I think it just came from a place of just wanting to do it on your own. And it kind of led to that. But I do think that the moving in your teens to a completely different place that speaks to different languages definitely had
for sure,
an impact.
And then your parents, what impact did your parents play in your decision becoming an entrepreneur and getting into payments of all things and all this stuff?
I think it's both sides. So my parents were have always been supportive. They're I would say maybe a little bit more on the if you have like helicopter parents and like on the spectrum of like they were much more on the laissez-faire. Like I look back and I'm like, I don't think they knew where I was from the age of 14 on, like on my day-to-day kind of thing. But they put a lot of trust in me. And even I think back in high school, I kind of crammed all my classes in the morning, and then went to a local computer store, and I was like, that's how kind of part of when I got into the web design. And I went to that local computer store and I was like, can I get a job because your website sucks and I'm going to build you a new one? And they're like, yeah, here you go. They literally said yes on the spot. And I built myself a little computer from the store. And then in the afternoon, I would start coding their website. And I think back and I'm like, I never asked my parents. I just
did it.
I think I just came home and I'm like, hey, by the way, like on the afternoons, I'm going to be working. You're like 15 years old and they're like, man, they were just like, they must have, who knows, maybe behind the scenes, they're just like, this kid is crazy, but like, they just kind of like gave me a whole lot of freedom. And I've been always appreciative of that.
So you've been through the internet boom. You've been through kind of the shift and you've seen ups and downs in the economy several times, payments. You've seen the rise of cryptocurrency and so many different changes. And now AI. I want to hear your thoughts. There's a 2025 and many companies, IBM talked about it, NVIDIA talked about it, Apple talked about it. So many companies are talking about this. That 2025 is the year of AI agents, where one AI agent can do the work 90 to 95% quality of a human. This seems like a pretty big shift, and you've been through enough shift to be able to sniff out bullshit or not. What are your thoughts? And you and I will have to have a separate conversation. I know we're up on time, but just quick thoughts on that.
I think that if you think about the mobile apps in 2010s and cloud kind of came about that era as well, right? And if you think about the world of startups and the world of tech, that really drastically reduce the barrier to get into technology. Because I remember like my first startup, I was racking up servers. like in a data center and buying like old Dell servers and racking it up. And that's what you needed to do to even get started. So the barrier to entry was really high. And all of a sudden, everybody could just go on AWS and just like boot up a SaaS, right? But the barrier to entry to further, a lot of like, SaaS and technology companies was software developers, right? It's still the expensive part in getting the right engineering talent. And I have no illusions. I don't think AI is going to replace software developers, but I do think it's going to reduce the barrier to be able to code a lot and build a lot of things. So now you've got cloud came, 10, 15 years ago. Now you've got AI coming in. So I think what happens is that the barrier to entry in a whole lot of industries is about to get dropped. Now that can be a little bit scary if you're not in an industry that does hard things. We think that for us in payments and fintech, whenever you're dealing with like moving money and bank relationships, and
you guys are fine.
Compliance and like the barriers of entries are high. But if you're making like a basic SaaS application, I think that you're going to see a wave of people coming in. Now that can bring disruption. I think there's, the worlds of they're not clients, so I can say this. The worlds of like Salesforce and HubSpot, there's, I think we need more options in this world because there's, we need more. Yeah. So I would welcome the more disruption in that space. But I think that's you're gonna have to get into harder things because you're gonna about to see a wave of people be able to build what you've built.
Love that. Well, you heard it here first from Nic. We'll see this trend play out in 2025. But it's been a pleasure. Glad we connected right after the gathering, and now we're on the podcast, and we'll have to catch up again soon. Maybe before we jump out, anything that you'd like to say to the audience or anything that we should plug in really quickly before we wrap up?
Helcim.com, and then come for our company, and come and reach out on LinkedIn. I accept all incoming requests. So connect with me. Always happy to chat.
You told me I was special. That's why you accepted mine.
You are special. Everyone's special.
Well, Nic, it's been a pleasure. I had a lot of fun. I'm sure the audience did as well. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you so much.